Preserve Rural Durham presents Appraisal Anxiety. Hey, honey, I just got the mail. Looks like we got something from Durham. I think it's our appraisal.
Holy moly!
And how to appeal it.
Today we decided to produce another little video that might help with some of you that are having anxiety over your tax appraisal notice. Preserve Rural Durham has had a lot of people reach out to us asking for help, suggestions, advice on how they can appeal their tax appraisal, because a lot of us had large increases. Some people having theirs double, and some even having theirs triple from previous evaluations. So Pam Williams and Donna Stainback have given us some good tips and pointers that we put together in a document that we'll be releasing today. This video hopefully will help some of you that are more visual learners and need to see it to understand it. So I'm going to let Pam walk you through the document and give you some pointers on how to help appeal. Whatever you do, just make sure you appeal.
Okay, I'm going to try to walk through it and show you how to review your information so you'll know what to discuss with the appraiser or adjuster when you send the information in. What you want to do first is to either type in this link, or if you have this document, you just control click and this will come up with tax help. And down on this they have review and compare. What you want to do is go to submit, review, and compare to get your information. Other than that, you would have to probably go to the tax office, call them at their number 919-560-0300. So what we want to do is to review our tax information first. So we go to this link right here, we click that. And it comes up and it tells you how to use online tools. So we want to review our property data. In your reappraisal market value that they sent you, at the upper right hand corner, it has the read number. And so you click on this tab, read, and then you type in your number, your read number, and your information is going to come up. Okay, so what comes up is all the information for your property that they have, and that they, I guess, place the market value on. If you want to print this out, it's only like 2, maybe 3 pages. You can go to this key right here and print property information, and that will give you your information for your property. And so I think it's only like maybe 3 pages.
Scroll down for just a second. Something to really pay attention to that we have really looked at is our land summary, because we like to see what our building site, that would be the acreage that your house is located on, what the price of that 1 acre is, or the building site, and then look at any residual acreage that you've got to see what they value your land at, if you have any excess land. That's where we've had a lot of conversations within our group about what our building site value is and what our residual acreage is, because it seems to be a fluctuation, even within Southeast Durham, between over here at Pam's Road versus over on Wake Forest Highway. Those numbers are still, are juggling around, and we're trying to understand what the consistency is. Why are we getting all these different numbers?
Yeah, but you want to go through this entire card. This, well, that might be the better way to do it this way. I know. This is pretty much the information, the acreage when it was last deed. Sometimes I think it was, if it's deeded for 97, it may not show up at the correct date. But and then your appraised value, your building value, miscellaneous improvements. Now, as we go through these pages, that is like my shed. They're saying that its value is $218. The total cost, and then the appraised value by cost, and that's what my taxes are. Well, my taxes were only based on $300,000 last year, so mine has gone up almost $200,000. here, you need to review this card because living area square footage, check what your living area square footage is. If you have had an appraisal done on it, check that. It has your square footage of living area. This right here, believe it or not, I've lived here over 30 years. I've never checked this, and come to find out that is wrong. Not by much, but it's only 1,779, I believe, is what mine is, versus what they had. So I've been paying on more square footage for a house than I should have. Anyway, so check that out. Number of stories, where they have you classified at. This is for Cape Cod. Your foundation, mine is on a footing and crawl space. A lot of people's are on concrete foundations or whatever. Whether the exterior is brick, what type of heating system you have, the number of bathrooms, the plumbing fixtures, that is things like sinks and tub and toilet, and number of bedrooms. See if that's all correct. And then the main body square foot. This is the downstairs of my house. So, and that was incorrect also.
I will say for Pam, I had also been charged for a half bath that I never had in my home.
Yes.
So, really look at that carefully, because I had no idea they were charging me for a half bath that's never been in my house since we built it in 1988, 89. So it is important to review that.
I know. And for a lot of these, the grade, the adjustment factors that you have here, I mean, really the only way to figure out if you think that they're charging you or got you in the wrong class is to go to their standard of values. And I'll show you the website for that in a little bit, and just kind of check that out. And also check out the physical depreciation. It's very complicated, but here they have AV is average 35%. And some of this they based off of the year it was built. Mine was built in 1976, so they got mine as 35%. Again, if you really want to get into it, that is in that standard of values. And there's a website for that I'll show you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, a C plus is average, correct, Pam?
Well, a C is average.
C is average.
C is average and everything. A C plus, is 110. And based on, as the number goes down, the cost should go down. The replacement costs and everything, or the appreciation value should go down. So they're saying mine is around $376,000 for the replacement of my house. If you take that, divide it by 1,800, you're about $200 a square foot for the house. And then they depreciated it, and this is the depreciation value. And they added in the shed cost of $218. And so that is what my building value is. Again, here is, they look at this, but these numbers don't really get added into this much. It's mainly based on, and this is what, your square footage, and the cost to replace it. Okay. So, this is my house, and what they did is this 5 feet right here, they had it in the garage, but actually this line should be going right down here, and that should be garage space and not actual living space. So that's a mistake they made on mine. Most of the other dimensions were correct. And I'm ashamed to say, being an engineer and knowing dimensions and numbers, I've never looked at this before in my whole life until this year.
I think a lot of us could say that we've never looked at this kind of detail until this year when our tax appraisals went up so drastically.
Okay. Now, like Pam was talking about, land summary, they have a price for $175,000 here for me in my area. I've seen other prices where they were only $125,000, and I say only $125,000. And they did my size adjustment factor was a 1, but here my residual property, my 1.5 acres, they had $50,000 as mine for the rate. I've seen others that was as low as 20,000 an acre, and then there's a size adjustment factor. How they come about with that, that's what you need to talk to whoever you appeal for, because I've seen a lot of other people's a lot smaller. Where I live, it's rural. I am in the urban growth boundary, but I do not have water or sewer access, and the city or county never plans on providing my road with sewer or water. So I think 71,000 for land I can't use, and also I've got a creek in my back. It's awful expensive, and plus 175,000.
I want to add, and as Pam said, out on the Wake Forest Highway area, our building site value per the acre is 125,000. So just a short distance across to Leesville Road, off Leesville Road area, hers is an extra 50,000 more than my building site value. So there has to be a reason why we're having Wake Forest Highway at 125,000 and Leesville Road 175,000. We know there's been a lot of building in this area. Pam's got, as she said earlier, building behind her, as well as building coming to the east to her, east of her.
Right, but my land is still the same land I had 30-some, almost 40 years ago, and you can't do anything with it. I can't put a small house on my land. The land out here will not perk. We've got a couple of lots that have been owned, and they tried to sell them, but people can't buy them because the land won't perk. So, I may live on 2.5 acres, and I praise God for that, but the land won't perk for me to add another house or really to make many major changes.
And I just want to add on, while we're talking about that real quick, that a lot of people will say, well, I've got city water and sewer located close to me or next door to me. I'm just going to hook up. It's not that easy. You have to pay to have those services hooked on to your property. The city just doesn't give you that free. That hookup free gets to be pretty costly if you're looking and thinking that's a possibility for you. So
Perfect example is Junction Road. They've been without a well that collapsed, we feel like, due to blasting 2 years ago. And it's going to cost them $500,000 to bring water down the road. Now, they already have sewer. County sewer, I guess, was put in there on Junction Road. But it's going to cost them over $500,000 to have water brought down the road.
To 10 homes.
When the subdivision butts up to their property in the back.
Correct.
So it's
just wanted to let people know that, because we hear that a lot.
So that's reviewing your property. Print it out, compare it, think about it. Discuss it with your friends and neighbors to see what theirs are. I had a friend, and her house was built in 1980, and it was a B, which is basically a new house. A grade B is basically a new house, and her house is it's got a lot of things that really needs to be fixed. It's at that age where it needs a lot of replacement. And so they definitely had hers at a higher grade than what it should be. It should be probably, in my opinion, a C- or a D. But anyway, so that's how you look at your property information, what they have and what they've put a cost to. Then if you're going to appeal, they want you to have a comparable. But the problem with comparables in this area, well, first of all, you go here, back to here, you hit compare data. Okay, so wait a few seconds, the screen will pop up and for that information. And then the issue you have with comparables is if you have an older house and it wasn't built in a major subdivisions like they're building now, your house may not compare to anything in the area, within 1 mile. So when I put in my house, which was built before Carolina Arbors or all these new developments down Dot Nichols and everything came into play, I really don't have this is I put in my read number here on property search. It came up with my address. So this is my house that I'm looking at, and then here's a comparable. Well, this house is only $135,000, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Nobody's lived in that house for over a year. It's a brick house. It's 1,300 feet from my house. It's on Leesville Road. It's 1,900 square feet, 2.4 acres, built in 1944. And the land, it sold in 2021. But as you can see, I don't have within a mile, and this is refined sales. You can go up here and adjust these numbers to get something that maybe is a little bit more comparable to your house. Like if you wanted something built in a specific year, you could put it in here. Here, it automatically went from 1966 to like 10 years before my house was built to 10 years after my house is built. Acres, if you want to change that, my acres is 2.54, and it went to about an acre, half an acre before and half an acre greater than mine for comparison. But again, the thing is, and all this, there is no comparison to my house. Okay, so let's change it to, you go up here, we're under this tab, which says 1 mile, and you change that to, let's say, 2 miles. Okay.
And remember, while she's doing that, you can't use anything sold in 2025. It has to be 2024 or before.
Okay, I want to change this to 2 miles. Okay, there you go. So now these are all my comparables. And that's great. I got more comparables to see. But so now you kind of have to sift through these and say, is that one really comparable to mine? Such as this one, 1.7 million. That is the nursery that's located, it's a retail nursery that's located on Leesville Road. And it's 1 mile from my house, 2,000 square foot. Year built, I don't think that's right because it was there before me, before I moved to this community. And it's got 4.5 acres. But it's just not, it's right across from all this development. Let me see. Here it is right here. So you can go and you can see where, but it's right across from all this development at Kalina Arbors, and now Leesville Assemblage is right here. I wish I could have an aerial, but satellite. That's a little bit better, but it's not a recent aerial. But Leesville Assemblage is here. Everett, which is being developed now, it's got quite a few townhomes are in here. So this is the land, 4 acres, that's right across from here. Now this has water and sewer. So I believe that's, but anyway, you want to look and see if these houses are really comparable to you. You can, this one's on Andrews Chapel. You want to kind of look at it and just see if it's truly comparable and say,
Go back to your acreage, Pam, and see if it adjusted your acreage. Yeah. That's where you make it your acreage the same as your, or at least similar.
Say 2.5. Well, I need to give it a range. There's nothing going to be exactly mine. 2.5. But even if you give it a range, if there's nothing within several miles, it'll just give you some comparables that are only 1 acre or 2 or 4 acres. But
so she went 5 acres from her home. She's still only getting 2 comparables.
Yeah.
Because there's just not a lot available for those of us in the county.
Yeah.
I clicked year built just so I try to find one about the same age as my home. But you can play around with this. It's just giving you good ideas to choose how to get a comparable, because they do want you to submit comparables with your appeal. And it's not easy to do. And it's hard to find a house that's been sold within the last year, even last 2 years, that's fairly close in your home. The farthest you can extend that out is 10 miles. So even when I put a 10-mile radius for my home, I didn't get many comparables. So, but it is part of the package that you can use that will help you get a free estimate for a comparable.
Let's see, let's go out 4 miles. So I went out 4 miles, and you can see that they've got some. Again, not all of this one that's sold in 2022. They're looking for something that's sold in 2024 or 2023 or something like that. And there's this one right here on Carpenter Pond Road, 3.4 miles. It's 1.10 acres, 1648 square feet. It's built right, so that might be comparable.
Now again, remember you can adjust year built, acres. You can adjust these tabs at the top if you want to refine your search more. Because right now these are not in red, so that tells me that they're not part of her search right now.
And if you think it's comparable, then you hit, like I did a comparable. This house is comparable. And you'll see a 1 came up, okay? Let me see. This one on Coley Road, 2.34, that's close. I'm going to say that's comparable.
So she's clicking where it says comparable, and it clicks it, and then it saves it for you. So you won't have to try to print them out.
So I've picked 3 that's comparable to my house, okay? Which I think, and then what you do is you go up here and you hit Save Comparables. And it generates a PDF. And so on this PDF, the 3 properties that you pick that you consider comparable, it's printed out on this sheet, and their statistics or information is given on this. This is what you need, whether you just have 1 comparable, 2 comparables, 3, whatever. You need to have a comparable done, or either you just need to come back and where it says no comparables, because yours may come up with no comparables in your area. Just print that out from what their own site is saying and say, I have no comparables, or these are comparables, but my house is such and such, whatever like I could say, my house is still stuck in the 70s with this interior decor, whereas these other 3 houses may have been remodeled and it's completely different than what it was when it was built. So you do need to have a comparable or justify, based on their own information, City of Durham's own information. This can be uploaded to the appeal, and we'll talk about that in a minute, or you can print it out and just attach it to your appeal. Okay.
And let me just emphasize what Pam was saying. If you don't agree this is a perfect comparable, you can also write out, I chose, comp number 3, but that one may be inside the urban growth boundary where I'm outside the urban growth boundary.
Right.
Or that one has city water and sewer and I don't have city water and sewer. So you can still make some comments about them, but you're just saying these are some that I feel like are the closest comparables that I can find.
Exactly. So now what you want to go back, want to go back to the this right here. And what you want to do is now you've got your comparables, you saw your information, you want to file an appeal. On the printout that we've done, it has this, here is where you can print the appeal form, okay? Or you can go to here and you can start your appeal right here. Again, you type in your read number or your address or your owner's name. And you get a pop-up screen, and here is my house. And so it just gives you a little bit more information, and then you go down to file an appeal. And then we hit that button, file appeal. You come back here and you start filling out the information. And there's one screen, and then there's just another screen. I'm going to go back to paper appeal form so you can see what the form looks like. Again, it has where you can file it online and where you have to go. You have to give an estimate of what you think your property's worth. You answer all this. Here's your comparables. Rental property. And it goes through and asks you all this information. Then even if it's a commercial property, you know, you fill that out. And that's basically all you have to answer. Here, you know, look at these questions. Are there any structural repairs needed for your house? A friend of ours had damage due to her house from the blasting, and she's got major cracks in her brick, in her foundation, and in her, bathroom ceilings and hallway, and, you know, some thinks their chimney is separating from their house, or any issues in your house. And it just doesn't have to be issues from blasting. It could be, you know, your bathroom is not functioning right and you need to have it repaired or replaced, or, you know, it's the same bathroom that was in 1970 or whatever. It's outdated. You got the same paneling walls that was built in the house. You know, whatever. You live on a private road, or you live on an access road, you know, where you're providing access to other people. All those things come into play. And it doesn't ask all those questions, but you need to provide it. And here it gives a structural repairs needed for property. Example, foundation failure. Well, that's just not foundation failure for outside that you can see. Let's see if you go to the roof cracks or whatever, and you have a second story. Some people have cracks in their upstairs due to settling problems over the years. So there's a lot of things. We have, and Pam, you may want to go over these factors that may affect your market value.
We've kind of put together things that we learned by going to the library meetings. That I did attend a library meeting. Tina attended a library meeting. Pam and Donna actually went down and had a conversation with an appraiser. They made an appointment. So there are lots of things you can do, but we've learned a few things that they gave us as advice. And so as a community service, we put together a list of things that may help you when you're filing your appeal. Some things such as if there are comparables or not. If you had a hard time finding a comparable, then say so. And even if you have comparables that are there, you can say, I've chose this one, but it's not a great match because, and you can give your reasons. Two, mention if you're on a septic system in well. I mean, county residents, we have septic systems in wells. And for some of us that live in the critical watershed, water is not going to be extended out to our area even if we wanted it to. But remember, if you decide you're just going to link onto the water, you will pay to have that done. It's not free. Outside the urban growth boundary. If you don't know what the urban growth boundary is, please visit Preserve Rural Durham's site. It is an imaginary line that separates what will be urban, meaning they want to develop and make it city, versus what is going to remain rural and out in the county, the country, so to speak. So make sure you indicate that if you're inside or outside the urban growth boundary. Are you within the critical watershed? If you know what that means, if you don't, again, visit our website. The critical watershed means you're within a mile of Falls Lake, or in some cases maybe Jordan Lake if you're on the other side of town. But that's important to make sure that you indicate that, because there are a lot of restrictions if you live in the critical watershed. Make sure you know what your zoning is, or if your zoning is RR, rural residential right now, or is it RS20. Know your zoning. As you know, some of you, the new UDO is being rewritten and will be revised soon. You can also use our Preserve Rural Durham maps to look up. We have links on our site to see what the proposed zoning is for your house. That's very important to know. Can your land be divided? In some people's land, it's linked to their septic system or linked to their garage. It couldn't be subdivided. That's important to note. Your farm designation. Are you forestry or agriculture? Is important to note. Are you on a private road? And is your road an access road? Is it gravel? Is it paved? The topography. Do you have any wetlands or ponds or streams on your property that prohibit it being developed? That would be important to note. Any floodplains. Also, are you within the RDU flight plan? We've had neighbors notice a difference in the airport flight plan to note. Are you near a major power line? Is there a major power line that divides your property? The building conditions, as Pam mentioned earlier, look at what your house is rated on that sheet. Are you an A, B, C, D, F, etc.? And it gives you an explanation of what those grades mean. Remember, C would mean your average. You're right in the average. And then we want to look to see, do you feel like you're above average or below average? And if so, make sure you make comment as to why. And so we give you a couple of things, as she said, to help with the depreciation value, like, is the same carpet there as when you built it? Have you done any renovations? Is it the same paneling? Is it the same wallpaper? Use things like this. If you've got cracks due to settling, mention those. Have you had water damage? How about your roof? All those things can go into helping you adjust your appreciation and get that letter grade to what you feel is truly reflective. And then when you get to 13, we've got provide the comparables. Pam did a great job explaining those comparables. Really use that site if you're struggling to find houses that compare. And then we have things like, the land cost evaluation. We explain her land per acre was $175,000 for that initial building site. Mine was $125,000. So we're trying to figure out what is different on Leesville Road than Wake Forest Highway. Look into those things. Ask questions. If you don't have an answer, at least ask. But there's lots of things you can do. Review significant increases or decreases that may have happened to your property. Are you in a mobile home? Have you noticed aging and depreciation there? How does this new market value affect your quality of life? Are you noticing drastic changes in your quality of life based on this new annexations or developments or blasting or traffic that has impacted you?
Our increase in tax, what is that going to do?
Yeah, what's it going to be like?
Do you have to sell now because of your limited income? And that's not going, but these taxes continue to grow exponential.
And so at the end, Pam has got a really good link here as to if you want to try to apply for tax assistance. We have several links for you to look at because you can qualify in some cases on your age or your income for tax assistance if you feel like you can't hold on to your property because of this increased tax appraisal. Remember, we don't know the exact new tax rate, what it will be. It's not been determined yet, but we do know when you see your new value doubled or tripled, you can definitely expect that there's going to be an increase, and a lot of people are very concerned. So you can notice that this critical watershed, it is measuring out about a mile from Falls Lake, or if you went on the other side, Jordan Lake. If you're close to those big, large bodies of water, then you can be considered in the critical watershed, which really limits a lot of what you can do with your land.
Right, and it's also, definitely all this is considered zoned rural. And so you can't, the maximum houses per acre is one house for every 3 acres. And so you couldn't subdivide your property based on the zoning.
But yes, if you don't know what urban growth boundary means, there's a great example, or critical watershed. Like Pam says, they pretty much mirror image each other. A couple little squiggles every now and then, but basically, look at that and make sure you note, are you inside the urban growth boundary or are you outside the urban growth boundary? Because that sometimes determines whether or not water and sewer would even be feasible to come to your house. Hopefully it helps. If not, you can reach out to preserverurdurham.org and send comments to us, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can.